we can we can take them later. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is your chairman, Leo, and it's good to see you all once again. Welcome to the monthly meeting and CPD presentation of IIRSM Qatar. I'm happy to have all of you. We have quite a good number tonight. There are 15 of us. So let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. So today is 21st of November. I know you are doing your CPD scheme, and just put this in your calendar that today you have attended this presentation, and I will give you the title of the topic later as part of your CPD. Someone is asking me he did not receive the link. Chairman Dipo, is it still possible to send the link?
Yeah, they can use the same link and they can log in.
Okay, so where is that link? Let me just find it. Uh, he said he already registered 2 days ago. Okay, let me just reply to him. Kindly check your email because I believe we all were sent with an email as to the confirmation of our registration. Okay, so again, um, Dips, would you mind helping me with this number 3037?
Just a moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, 30.
37
Mm-hmm.
5564.
Here you get the Zoom link, right?
Yeah. Okay, yep. So as I was saying, welcome everyone to this monthly meeting and CPD presentation. Tonight, we're very lucky to have with us a a newfound resource person, um, and he can share with us his experience about environment. And let me read to you his brief um, background of who he is. His name is Mr. Ajmal Said, and he's an environmental engineer, and he is an assistant environmental safety officer at Hamad Medical Corporation. Mr. Ajmal has been an expert in environmental engineering for more than 17 years in the field of construction engineering and healthcare. His expertise includes designing and implementing environmental and social management plans, conducting audits related to environmental sustainability, managing permit applications, engaging in stakeholder consultations, and overseeing compliance inspections. Throughout his career, Mr. Ajmal has collaborated with diverse governmental, wildlife, municipal, and international financial donor agencies and authorities to align with their guidelines and standards, addressing implementation challenges in both local and international settings. Furthermore, he excels in delivering technical level assistance for environmental remediation projects, including data analysis and the preparation and submission of project reports. You know, guys, this guy is really very humble, but let me be proud to let you know that Mr. Ajmal was once connected with the World Health Organization and United Nations, and I'm happy to bring him to you tonight for him to share with us his expertise in environmental risk factors. So as our CPD for tonight, let's all welcome, if you can just open your camera, and let's just welcome Mr. Ajmal by shaking our hands. I would appreciate if you can do it, and also to confirm your presence here. We're having a very good number tonight. There are 24 of us. So let's all welcome Mr. Ajmal. And We will just take our group photo later on. And while Mr. Ajmal is presenting, I would be glad if you can take some catching notes as your question for him later on. So once again, good evening, everyone, and let's all welcome Mr. Ajmal Said to give his presentation. Chairman Dipo, perhaps you can now shift to him as the host for his presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Leo, and thank you, everyone. It's good to be here with all of you experienced people. So I am going to present what is the role of environmental health, and later on, then we can, interact with each other in any questions or something. Uh, is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, it's visible, but can you just project it?
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay. Yeah, we're seeing now slide number 2. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we start, Mr. Leo?
Yes, you may, Mr. Ajmal.
Okay,
Please do.
so hello again, everyone. Today, environmental health, the role of environmental health, especially in public health, that is very, very important. So, most of the things that we will be discussing today will be the environmental risk factors actually responsible for ailments, diseases, and deaths. So I will just give you a little summary of, what environmental health is, what environmental science is, what is the key interaction between environmental health and environmental sciences, what is the role of environmental risk factors when it comes to diseases, especially communicable diseases. Because as Mr. Leo already explained that most of my career, almost 5 years, I've been working as environmental health engineer with WHO back in my country, in Pakistan. So what happens is that we have a lot of natural calamities, especially in 2010. Our country was hit by massive floods, the intensity of which we had never experienced. So when the normal communities, they are, their environment is disturbed, and all of their basic necessities, they are disturbed, then it is very hard for them and for the government to sustain their system, especially of public health. So there, the most important thing, the critical thing, is the spread of communicable diseases, which are waterborne, which are foodborne, which are related to poor waste management or sanitation. So all of these factors, they actually, you can get it from these calamities, and then you'll know that how does it affect the public health. So it is generally, the presentation will aim on these points. So starting with the definition of the public health. So public health is defined globally as the science of protecting the safety and improving the health of communities through regular surveillance and response, education, policy making, and research for disease and outbreak prevention, right? So here, how do we protect the safety and improving the health of communities? In every country, there is a health department. In health department, they have this system. In WHO, we had the DEWS system, disease early warning system. So how does it function actually? That you are regularly monitoring the health, the spike of the diseases. We have measles, we have leishmania, we have like cholera, we have a lot of communicable diseases which comes to the environment because of environmental factor. So you regularly monitor all of these diseases. If there is a poor sanitation, you need to check on that, because if you are receiving a spike of diseases, let's for example say you are receiving uh, 10 cases of cholera from one locality, then in the next week it is becoming like 15, and it is going on. So there in the government system, it spikes that there is a rise of diseases from their specific area. So what happens then, what surveillance and monitoring is, that the health department or the WHO teams, they will send their team having the specialities of environmental engineer, of a pharmacist, of a surveillance officer, which is normally a MBBS plus MPH a doctor. So they will go there, they will do their initial assessment, and they will find out. A doctor will search for the cases which are active, like which have the disease. The environmental engineer, what he will do, he will check the community from where the disease came. Like when we find the cause of the disease, then it is very easy to stop an outbreak. So this is what actually the environmental health jumps in. So the environmental guy will go there, he will take the water samples, he will check the sanitation network, and then he will share his findings. And then based on those findings, then a medical camp is set up, and the thing is controlled, the outbreak, the potential outbreak. Then what happens that when a medical camp is set, the people, their community stakeholders, they are gathered and they are educated about the nature of this disease and why it came to the community. Then on the government level, there is always a policy. I mean, in my country, there is a public health policy. There is a public health act, and that the policies of the public health act are enforced by the government in light of this act. So I believe every country must have their public health act. So, and also research for the disease prevention in the future, that what were the causes of these diseases. Why either it was poor sanitation, it was the water quality, it was the poor waste management, so things like this. So what does the public health professional do? What are their roles and responsibilities? They monitor the health status of a community to identify and respond to potential spikes in disease trends. So as I explained already, that every government system has, their software or their teams which are regularly monitoring these spikes of diseases. And it also depends on, the system or the country, their geography, that how many communicable diseases are added into their system. In my time in 2010, it was 15 communicable diseases which were added to the list. Then it became 21 diseases later on in 2017 and 18. So the nature of the disease is because what we have done, we humans, we have disturbed the ecosystem of the vectors and the animals. It is us, because of the population expansion, that we have gone inside their ecosystem, and we are getting diseases from mosquitoes. We are getting diseases from the other things like Ebola, for example. So these are the things. And then after that, then diagnose and investigate health problem and hazards in the community. So this is one of the things that public health professionals do: inform, educate, and empower people about health issues, particularly the underserved and those at risk. Mobilize community partnership to identify and solve health problems, develop policies and plans that support individual and community health efforts, enforce laws and regulations that protect public health and ensure safety, ensure a competent public health and personal healthcare workforce, evaluate effectiveness, accessibility, and quality of personal and population-based health services, and research new insights and innovative solutions to health problems. Now, what is the WHO definition of environmental health? So it is environmental health comprises those aspects of human health, including quality of life, that are determined by physical, biological, social, and psychosocial factors in the environment. Or it also refers to the theory of practice of assessing, responding to, controlling, and preventing environmental risk factors, having potential adverse effect on human health and the environment of present and future generation. So as I already explained that, you have spikes of disease. How do you control them, and how do you sustain your surveillance inside your community? And one of the things is sustainability, which will later on come inside this presentation, which is also as per the Sustainable Development Goal 2030 of the UN. So we will discuss that as well. So what environmental health science actually is, it is the study of those factors in the environment that affect human health, directly or indirectly. And what those factors are, those are pollutants or toxicants in the air, water, soil, food, plants, or animal. This we will discuss in detail. What are the air pollutants? What are the water pollutants? What causes our soil to contaminate? What are our, I mean, the man-made hazard or the anthropogenic practices that pollutes all of these air, water quality, food, plants, or animals. And also, what are the reason what are the reason through which the diseases are transferred to humans by inhalation, ingestion, or absorption? It is not only through inhalation, ingestion, or absorption, it is also from human to human transmission of diseases, or from animal to humans transmission of diseases, which is called zoonotic diseases, right? And the production of adverse health effects. What are the environmental contributors? So it is either physical or biological or social. Okay. Physical is air, water, soil, climate, geography, heat, visible light, noise, and debris. Air pollutants, smoke, toxic gases, toxic effluents, and pesticides. So these are the physical. The biological are viruses, bacteria, and other microbes, insect, rodents, animals, and plants. Or the disease-producing agent, reservoirs of infection, intermediate host, and reservoir of infection. And what are the social? I mean, normally in our society, because of the cultural norms, one society is rich and their norms are different from those who are, underprivileged. And the socioeconomic status, it's also the same thing. Educational opportunities, how many people, especially in the third world countries, have the access to education. Religions also, there are conflict of religions in many areas. Access to healthcare, how many people have access to the healthcare, and political climate, of course. So how do we define a healthy environment? A healthy environment is that you are breathing clean air, which is free from particulate matters. About the particulate matters, we will discuss this later on in this presentation. Uninterrupted, clean drinking water, safe, nutritious, and accessible food, safe and strong settlements, proper sanitation network, stable global environment. So what is the scope of environmental health? The scope of environmental health actually include water supplies, right? And because a lot of public health issues are related mainly to water supply, wastewater treatment. How well built is your wastewater treatment system, if there is any? If there is not any wastewater treatment system, then what are the alternatives that should be adopted to manage this wastewater? Waste management, vector control, prevention and control of land pollution, food hygiene and safety, air quality management, environmental radiation hazard. There are two types of environmental radiation. One is ionizing radiation, the other one is a non-ionizing radiation. So the X-rays, uranium, radium, thorium, because of the radiation decay, they emit alpha, beta, and gamma radiation, which is very much hazardous to health. Nuclear power plants, and the non-ionizing radiation are the radio waves, the microwaves, the ultraviolet, infrared, normally in the sunlight, visible lights. And occupational health and safety, of course, where we check for the risk assessment, standards, and regulations. The training and education is a part of OHS. PPEs, emergency procedure, ergonomics, environmental ergonomics, the workplace that you have designed does not pose a musculoskeletal disorder. So need to be, control of ergonomics is very, very important, especially in the workplace, and hazmat management, hazardous material management. Normally we have chemicals and hazardous waste. How do we control that? Environmental noise management, which is very important, chemicals management, and promoting sustainability. Now, in sustainability, I think most of us might know that there is a Sustainable Development Goals 2030, and 197 countries of the world, which are the UN members, they are signatory to Sustainable Development Goals, which is why you might have seen since the last 5 or 6 years, in every aspect of every project, they are promoting and they are pushing sustainability. There is a theory which I will not go into detail in environment. There is a theory that is called Malthusian theory. That is a crazy theory, but in which the Robert Malthus was a scientist, and he says that the earth is made for sustaining a population of 40 billion people. So if it exceeds that population, then the earth will not be able to provide to the population. So we must have population control. His theory was partially rejected and partially accepted, because he was saying that wars and natural calamities, and they should be there because this is the natural way of sustaining the population growth, of controlling the population growth. But that was not adopted. But the population control was actually adopted from that theory. What he was saying actually was for sustainability, that the current generation should not overexploit all the resources for the future generation, to meet their own need. We must use our resources responsibly. This is what sustainability is. So in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, there are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 agenda items, which is due to environment, which focuses on environment. And Sustainable Development Goal number 6 is clean water and sanitation for all around the globe. The 7th agenda point is affordable and clean energy. Clean energy means green energy, that energy which does not pose a health hazard to the humans, all the living beings, and to the environment. Which is why, we have these solar power and wind power, and all of this green energy is being pushed globally. And most of the European countries, the US, they have made treaties that by the end of 2030, they will significantly reduce the diesel and petrol engines. They are going, now Japan has introduced the hydrogen power engine, and up till now we are using electrical cars. So things like these, they comes under the umbrella of clean energy. The 11th agenda point is sustainable cities and communities. Now, the sustainable cities and communities, we have here West Bay. In West Bay, you have high-rise buildings. So actually the idea is for the high-rise buildings that in one huge building, you can accommodate a lot of people. And if you provide all the basic life necessities to those people, I mean malls and hospitals and healthcare and everything in that specific area, in a small area, they will not be, they would not go for these things outside their specific area, which means that they will be using less transportation, which means that there will be less carbon emission, right? There will be economical benefit to them also. So, and these sustainable cities would have all of the things inside that area. Their waste management will be proper, their sanitation network will be proper, they will have all the basic necessities. So this is actually based on this agenda, the sustainable cities and communities. The number 12 is responsible consumption and production. over-exploitation of resources must be discouraged. Point number 13 of the SDG is climate action. You know, we are having a lot of problems because of the global warming and climate change. And this is because of our practices and our exploitation of resources. If you see, there is a global weather shift pattern. You know, the weather is getting, there are areas which previously were very warm. They are turning into cooler areas. If we take the example of Gulf, for example, previously the weather was not this good. It is now changing. But there will be some other countries where the weather was cooler and it is now getting hotter. For example, the UK, Australia, all of these places. So this is because of the climatic conditions and because of the anthropogenic activities that we are having these problems. And the 14 is life below water, which means the aquatic life, the life in the sea. And 15 is life on land. So these are actually the sustainable development goals, just an overview of how much environmental health, sustainability is important. So continuing the scope of environmental health, environmental impact assessment. So what environmental impact assessment actually is, I think most of my colleagues or my friend will know here that before the commencement of any project, there is always an initial environmental examination. And based on the initial environmental examination, the environmental impact assessment is done. So what actual environmental impact assessment is that how the environment could be affected by the aspect of this project. I mean, if you are commencing a construction work, for example, so you are doing a lot of excavation work, you are doing trenching, there will be a lot of dust generated, there is flora, fauna, the cultural and heritage, the wildlife of the area, how many plant species or trees are you going to cut. So all of these things, they are first calculated that these are the aspects of the project, different stages of the project, and how will be the environment impacted because of these aspects. So then they are very well drafted. And then the mitigation measures, which is why we have like noise monitoring, we have dust monitoring, we have water resource management, we have spill control and all of these things. This is because there is always an environmental impact assessment study done before the commencement of the project, and based on environmental impact assessment study, an environmental management plan is drafted, approved by the ministry, and then all of the mitigation measure written in that environmental management plan, they are implemented actually on site by the environmental engineers. For health, accident prevention, environmental health measure associated with epidemics, emergencies, disaster, and migrations of populations. So when there is an emergency, the normal life of the people is disturbed. They tend to migrate to areas allotted by the government, or they are unable to, because they are in a flood, their homes are flooded away, so they are unable to live there. So they migrate to other areas because of these disaster emergencies. And with these disaster and emergencies, the epidemics or outbreaks of diseases is directly connected. Establishment of an effective environmental health surveillance and information system. Research on environmental health issues. So coming to water quality and health. So as per the WHO, I mean, in my career, I might have, if I correctly remember, 15 or 1600 water quality samples I have collected and analyzed myself. So the global standard is that the water, there should be an uninterrupted water supply to the community. The water should be clear. I mean, the color, we call the color like TCU, true color unit, which is 15 TCU is the global standard, that it should be free from any contaminants, free from any odor, colorless, odorless water, free from pathogens. So this is actually the pure water which is supposed to be supplied to the community. So free from pathogenic agents, free from harmful chemical substances, pleasant taste, free from color and odor. It is odor, O-D-O-U-R, sorry. Usable for domestic purpose. And the WHO standard or the global standard for water consumption is minimum 50 liters per person per day for basic needs, like washing, bathing, and drinking. But it also depends on the climate, the lifestyle, and availability of water in a specific area. So what are the sources of water quality? But before that, I just want to share with all of you something. You know, the world population, the global population is 7.8 billion people. And I think it has now reached to 8 billion population. And for this 8 billion population, the freshwater resources or the fresh water available for 8 billion population is 5%. Only 5% of fresh water is available. Sorry, 3% is available, fresh water, because rest of the 2% is trapped into the glaciers and the snow. So for a population of 8 billion people, we just have 3% of fresh water, and see how we are managing our water. So what are the sources of water? Meteoric water received as rain, snow melt from the rivers, the hailstorms, the glacier melt water. Okay, the surface water we have rivers, streams, lake, ponds, the groundwater obtained through dug wells, tube wells, natural springs, foundation. And what are the sources of water pollution then? How we are polluting our water? The sewage system, they're not properly built. They're not very well maintained. Industrial and commercial effluents. So in most of the countries, not in the developed countries, but in most of the underdeveloped countries, this is a big issue. Because there are industry which are releasing effluents into the fresh water, which is not only, if consumed by humans, very dangerous, but also for the aquatic life. Use of pesticides, because when you use pesticides and it rains, those pesticides, they are drained with water, and they are accumulated into the water channels, and if that water is consumed, that is not only bad for the human but also for the aquatic life. Chemical measures, radioactivity, organic, inorganic, and dissolved pollutants. Normally, the water quality is checked for two main what we can call parameters. One is the chemical, and the other one is bacteriological. And one is physical also. The physical parameter is color, odor, taste, pH, and turbidity that you can do on site. If you have a pH meter, if you have a turbidity meter, you can look to the eye with you, to the water with your eyes if that is clear, no odor. So that is the physical. Then bacteriological, you look for Vibrio cholera and other viruses which we will discuss. And then there are chemical analysis. So every, if you take a bottle of water, there will be written the chemical parameters on each water bottle. There will be chloride, fluoride, magnesium. So each chemical in this water has its own value. So if that is disturbed, then it can cause serious health implications. So from contaminated water, what are the health issues? We have the nature of diseases. Globally, there are vector-borne diseases. Vector are actually, the mosquitoes, the rodents, and all of these, we call them vectors. Okay. So like, for example, how is malaria spread? Malaria is spread by the bite of Aedes aegypti, which is a female mosquito. Female Aedes aegypti is the species of mosquito which spreads it. So the base provided to Aedes aegypti to lay eggs and to form larvae is water. It is water-based disease, actually. So there are vector-borne diseases. Malaria, dengue is also by a mosquito, Zika virus, chikungunya, yellow fever, West Nile, leishmaniasis. All of these diseases are vector-borne. They are transmitted by a vector to the human beings. And then there are waterborne diseases. In waterborne diseases, we have viral, bacterial, protozoal, helminthic, snail, and cyclops. So viral are hepatitis A and E. They are actually waterborne diseases. They are transmitted to humans from contaminated water having the viruses of hepatitis A and E. Poliomyelitis, the polio, the rotavirus, which causes diarrhea, the SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, is also through water. Dengue fever is also waterborne because the best is provided by a pond or a stagnant water source. Then we have bacterial diseases, bacteria in water, cholera, bacillary dysentery, typhoid, salmonella, and E. coli infections. Then we have protozoans in water, amoebiasis, giardiasis, malaria. These are because of the protozoa. Helminthic, roundworm, threadworm, hydrated disease, and then snail is schistosomiasis, and then cyclops is guinea worm and fish tapeworm. So these are some of the waterborne diseases. So these are some of the diseases spread by mosquitoes, which are water-based diseases: malaria, West Nile virus, Zika, dengue, yellow fever, chikungunya. And what are the zoonotic diseases? What are zoonotic diseases which is spread, transmitted from animal to humans? Anthrax is spread from livestock, horses, etc. The avian paramyxovirus, it is spread from pigeons. Bird flu from birds. Foot and mouth disease, cattle, sheep, pig, dogs. Rabies from animals and from human to human. Swine fever from pigs. Tuberculosis from cattle. Tetanus from animals and human. And there is one more, and I would not say luckily, but in my career, I have responded to 5 cases of Congo disease. Congo is also spread from direct blood transfusion from an infected animal to a human being. And it is that dangerous that within hours, like within 5 hours, the patient will expire. And I have seen it with my own eyes. So these are some of the zoonotic diseases. Also, Ebola is one of the zoonotic diseases. So this is actually composition when it comes to air quality, the chemical composition of air. So nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, methane, helium, krypton, hydrogen, xenon. These are the volume that should be there in the air of all of these chemicals. It will then be considered as a healthy air. This is the carbon dioxide. So you can see this chart from if you look at the downside, if like the green color, if it is 400, 500, and 600 within this range, then it is excellent. And good is from 700 to 1000, good or fair. And it is like mild contaminated if it is from 1100 to 1500 parts per million ppm. Then it will be considered bad if it is 1600 to 2000, and 2100 is a poor air quality with carbon dioxide. So what are the sources of air pollution actually? So from transport sector, we have nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, CO, volatile organic compounds, lead, which is PB, nitrogen dioxide, and black smoke. These are emitted from the transportation sector, which is why globally the green energy or the electric cars, and they are pushed that the diesel and petrol engines should be discouraged. Then comes the industries and waste disposal. So sulfur dioxide, ammonia, carbon dioxide, carbon oxides, methane gas, all of these are, as a result of industrial pollution and waste disposal, these are the sources. So domestic sector from our household sector, carbon dioxide, carbon oxide, SO2, nitrogen oxide, CH4, volatile organic compounds, smoke, dust, etc. And from power generation, also these gases are emitted. So we use particulate matters, but globally, the most challenging particulate matters are SOx, COx, and NOx. SOx is sulfur dioxide, oxide of sulfur. NOx is nitrogen oxide, and COx is carbon oxide. Nitrogen is nitrous oxide. So from the industrial emissions, most of these SOx, NOx, and COx, they are the reason that our Earth is warming up. There is global warming, because what happens is that these compounds are their heat trapping agents, these gases. So the actual temperature of the globe, if we define like global warming, what is the phenomena of global warming? What is happening right now? The Earth needs a specific temperature for life on Earth to sustain, right? For that purpose, it is getting its temperature from the sun. So the temperature that the Earth needs, in shape of the ultraviolet and infrared radiation, it will be filtered by the O3 layer, the ozone layer. So the harmful or the toxic nature of it will be reduced, and then it comes to the Earth. Because of the SOx, NOx, and COx, these gases, the presence of these gases, this heat will be trapped. The amount of heat that is needed for the Earth will be trapped, and the rest of the heat will be again reflected back. Now, what is happening that we are, because of the industries and the vehicular emissions and all of our practices, we are generating a high amount of carbon oxides, and a lot of heat is trapped. And the global temperature is rising up because of that. And because of that, we are having like flooding, and we are having a lot of global warming issues, weather shift patterns. So this is actually the phenomena. So control of these particulate matters is very, very important. It is, the number one global agenda nowadays to just control this, the emission of these gases. So the health effects of air pollutants. So the carbon oxide, what it does, CO poisoning, depleted oxygen supply to heart and brain and other vital organ, headache, fatigue, dizziness, drowsiness, nausea. And the carbon dioxide, what it will do is headaches, dizziness, difficulty in breathing, sweating, tiredness, increase heart rate, blood pressure, coma, asphyxia, convulsions. And sulfur dioxide is very toxic if inhaled. Severe irritation of nose, skin, and eyes, blindness, pulmonary edema, tightness in chest, asthma, inflammatory respiratory system. And also, it can cause you the upper and lower ARI diseases, acute respiratory infections from all of these particulate matters. Lead. You might have heard about lead poisoning. So what it does to humans is problems in pregnancy, harm to fetus, the baby, fertility issues, hypertension, digestive disorders, nerve disorders, memory loss, muscle and joint pain. Cadmium, CD, affects cardiovascular and reproductive system, kidneys, eyes, and brain. Hydrogen sulfide, H2S, small exposure can cause irritation to eyes, nose, or throat, increased difficulty for asthmatics, patients with asthma. O3 is ozone, can damage lungs, chest pain, coughing, throat irritation, heart breathing, worsen the asthmatic patients. Particulate matter, premature death of person with heart and lung diseases, heart attacks, irregular heartbeat, aggravated asthma, difficulty in breathing, coughing. So all of these diseases, if you look at the lead, cadmium, hydrogen sulfide, and all of these gases and the particulate matter, then it is like the majority of the people will experience upper and lower ARI diseases. This is what, as per my experience, what I have seen is like these cases, where the places which were emitting a lot of these gases, or if there were a lot of industries, so patients coming to those specific health facilities, we would receive a high number of cases of acute respiratory tract infections. So an average adult person, I mean, how much air do we inhale per day? So an average adult resting person inhales 7 to 8 liters of air per minute, or almost 11.5 cubic meter, or 14.2 kilogram per day of air. So among other air pollutants, particulate matter is a mixture of tiny solid particles. So for this, for the particulate matter, the problem with this particulate is that it is so fine particle that it can even it can even go into your bloodstream. And there was a study that I read. It was done on the American soldiers who were deployed in Afghanistan and in Iraq. What they found that in most of them, there was a risk of diabetes. And when they checked, they were exposed to a high amount of particulate, because in their countries, they were not used to this, particular high number of particulate. But when they were deployed there, so because of the particulate matters, these fine particles, they could go into the bloodstream. This is one thing. The other is with the particulate matter, there might be viruses which could go inside your system. So dust, smoke, soot. What is soot? Soot is actually the not completely burned carbon items is called soot. The black smoke, if you see that is called soot. Soil, minerals, pollens, and water droplets. So what I have seen on every project, the PM 2.5, and normally the PM 2.5 is checked. PM10, there is PM1. There are three types of PMs: particulate matters 2.5, PM10, PM1, and then there is TSP, total suspended particle. So to assess the air quality of a city, PM 2.5 and PM10 are measured in routine. The WHO air quality guidelines recommend an average concentration of PM 2.5 must not exceed 10 microgram per cubic meter and 20 microgram per cubic meter for PM10. But as per the Qatar environmental law 30 by 2002, the PM 2.5 must not exceed above 50 microgram per cubic meter. So what are the health effects, which I have already discussed, but actual risk of adverse effect depend on the current health status, type and concentration of pollutant, and length of exposure, of course. High air pollution level can cause immediate health problems. For example, aggravated cardiovascular and respiratory illness, stress heart and lungs that must function, damaged cells in the respiratory system. So it is linked to the respiratory illnesses. Long-term exposure to polluted air can have permanent health effects, such as accelerated aging of the lung. It will impact the lung function, loss of lung capacity and decreased lung function, development of disease such as asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, and possibly cancer, and shortened lifespan. So who are the vulnerable people to air pollution? Those individuals which have heart diseases, coronary artery disease, or congestive heart failure, individual with lung diseases such as asthma, emphysema, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, pregnant women, outdoor workers, older adults and the elderly, children under age of 14, athletes who exercise vigorously. So how do we prevent or control air pollution? The first is containment. right? Preventing atmospheric release of toxic substances by enclosure, ventilation, and air cleaning. This is inside a normal setup, but in industries, every industry has a big house filters. Okay, big house filter is actually used or the that is used to catch or to trap the release of the particulates. So that is normally everywhere in most of the countries in the industries. You must have uh, big house filters. So that is on the industrial base. In the project, especially here in Qatar, what we do is that if there is a lot of dust, dust which is generated, so what we do is dust suppression normally. We do dust suppression, the tanker will come, it will start the sprinkling water on the site 2 times a day. And if there are any stockpiles of the excavated material like the soil, so they should be properly covered with the green mesh. So so that if there is a wind blowing, so they are not blown with the air. Inside buildings or the work areas, the ventilation should be clean. There should be proper ventilation and air cleaning system. Replacement, substitution of fossil fuels and firewood by alternate wind, solar, and hydel power. This is what the globally it is adopted now for the green energy. This is a substitution to control the air pollution. Dilution, green belts in between the roads, urban plantation, forestation, discouraging deforestation and encouraging afforestation. That is one of the things that can improve the air quality. And also the legislation. In my country, we have Pakistan Environmental Protection Act 1997. Here we have the Qatar Environmental Protection Law 30 by 2002, which has 76 articles in that law, which is covering each and every aspect of environment. It is covering the plants, the animals, the air, soil, water, cultural heritage, the chemicals, everything in very much detail is written there. So every country has their own environmental laws. So it could be controlled by implementing and enforcing the laws. And of course, international action and international monitoring through ground and space station, which is already been done by NASA and all of these agencies. Okay, so this was the end of it. I mean, there is a lot of things that needed to be discussed, but because of the time constraint and the technicality of this subject, this was what I prepared. So I hope you have learned something out of it, and I'm open for questions. So.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajmal. And if you have any question, you can share it with us before we award Mr. Ajmal our certificate of appreciation. So we are now open for questions. You can unmute yourself, and we can address our questions directly to him.
Okay, can I ask a question, bro?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
Francis Tan.
My question is in environmental impact. Okay. What are the thorough and what is the thorough and system evaluation of potential environmental effects of a proposed project to enhance its effectiveness in environmental impact assessment?
Okay, so the question is,
Yeah.
to enhance a project, what is a thorough process on environmental impact
And
assessment
systematic evaluation.
and
Uh,
systematic evaluation?
Yeah, I will come to that. Actually, environmental impact assessment is mandatory by the law. It is not optional. Here in Qatar, and I know in my country, but here in Qatar, it is by the law that you will have to go for environmental impact assessment. Because you have an environmental protection law, the environmental impact assessment is actually conducted in light of the environmental laws of the state of Qatar or any other state. So it is not just focus on few items. You go for the initial environmental examination. Okay, you are going, let's for example, say we are in Doha. In Doha, we have an area where we are going to construct a mall, right? But that area, we have plants. We might have certain species of endangered species of animal. We have right down below our feet is the sea, right? So all of these aspects, every aspect, single aspect, water, you will not have to contaminate the water. So if you are not going to contaminate the water, what are your mitigation measures for that? Regular, samples collected from that area of the water, the marine samples, so that is checked that the marine samples are clear and there is no contamination in the water. If you come to the waste management, you will not manage your waste. You will have to properly manage your waste. What will be the criteria? You will have to ask for a third-party contractor to collect your waste, take it to the municipality, stamp it from the municipality, provide you with the disposal slip, and then you will have to, mention that in your report, the water quality result, the air quality. How are you going to, because we call it sensitive receptors. The people around that project area, they are called sensitive receptors. So because of your operation in the construction, those people, their health could be affected because of the particulate matters or the dust particles generated from that project. So what you will be doing about that? Okay, I will be doing about that dust monitoring. How is dust monitoring done? It is through equipment. That equipment is installed 10 meters away from the project area. That is a fixed equipment dust monitor for 8 hours.
Yeah.
After 8 hours, you will take the sample and then you. So it is not just one thing. It is the air quality, it is the noise, it is the chemical management, it is the water management, it is the waste management, it is the sustainability also. And let me tell you one thing. Let me inform you about this. Sustainability is going to be a separate component in the coming project in the state of Qatar. I was working in Ras Laffan on wastewater treatment plant. We had a project. So it was a very good, this is a very good example that I want to share with you. We would receive a lot of equipments because the bigger equipments which are used in the waste treatment system, the blowers, and they would have a lot of boxes, like bigger boxes made of wood. So what we would do, what I did that we recycled those wood, and we recycled those and we made the shelter for the workers from that wood. This is how we recycled that. We made vases, vase for the offices from that wood. We made chairs from their wood, and we completely utilized them. And I also got an award for that. So this 3R approach: reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So this is what sustainability.
Because I think they already adopt this method because I saw in Samsung.
Yeah. So about your question, it is not just one factor. If you are going for environmental assessment, you will have to take in consideration water quality, the waste management, the soil quality, the noise, the air quality, the sustainability factor, the chemicals management. So there are a lot of things that, and also if there are any, because especially in the state of Qatar or in countries, there are animals which are endangered. Even if they are not endangered, you cannot, disturb the habitat of an animal or of another living thing. If you disturb the habitat, you're actually practically killing him, because he will migrate from that area and to the other area, especially in this country, might not be feasible for him to breed and to reproduce. So he will vanish. And it is also a crime by the environmental law of the state of. If you see a snake, because we were very strictly told that whatever living thing you see, you will not touch it. You will have to inform us. If you kill a snake, I think it is a 10,000 real penalty or something. So these are the things which protect, like these laws, they protect these all of these environmental things. So a lot of factors. Yeah.
Understand. Thank you. A follow-up question.
Yeah, sure.
What is the several steps to enhance its effectiveness? There is steps, no? How to enhance their effectiveness?
The effectiveness of environmental impact assessment.
Yep.
Actually, this is a systematic process. This systematic process is that first initial environmental examination is done. So IEE is actually done is done for the purpose that whether there is a need for an EIA or not. If there is no need for an EIA, then the EIA is not done. But if there is a need for an EIA, and because the EIA is based on a certain budget, if there is a small project, no need. But if the project is a huge budget, then you need to go for a EIA. So when EIA is done, the EIS, I'm just telling you the process of how it works. So the
Okay.
EIS, yeah, the EIS,
Okay. One of the several steps, correct me if I'm wrong, is that around about the baseline data collection, right?
that is collected in IEE, in initial environmental examination.
Yeah.
So the IE is done, then EIA is done. If the EIA when done, it takes I think 2 or 3 months, and a lot of specialties are required for that. That is then sent to the ministry. When the ministry approves that, then they ask the contractor or the consultant to go for the construction environmental management plan.
Okay.
Then the construction environmental management plan is actually based on the EIS study, which is the actual plan to be implemented practically on that project. So in construction environmental management plan, you will have waste management plan, you will have noise and vibration management plan, you will have water resource management plan, you will have air quality monitoring plan. So all of these, the air quality, waste, noise, you will have to calculate the amount on monthly basis. You will have to share an Excel sheet of all of these readings with the client to the ministry.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this is,
But
yeah, so this is
did you
actually,
consider also the impact identification?
of course, the EIA process,
yeah,
first is screening, then scoping, okay, then the baseline study. This is actually the EIA study. The impact prediction. What is the
okay.
impact? This is actually included in the EIA study. All these are the steps of EIA. All right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the screening, then the second is the scoping, then there is a baseline study, the comprehensive studies to establish the current environmental condition. Then there is impact prediction. You are actually predicting and evaluate the likely environmental impacts of the proposed project, right? What will be the likely environmental impacts based on the identified baseline conditions, and then mitigation measures. So for the impact prediction, then you go for and you propose and assess measures to avoid, minimize, or compensate for identified adverse impacts. Then what is the alternative assessment? You evaluate alternative project designs or location that could reduce environmental impact. If the environmental impact in this specific area is very high, then you will not go for the project. You will have to look for the alternative areas to start your project. And then there is environmental management plan, EMP, and then EMP is implemented outside. So EIA is actually not in your project. EIA will be submitted to the ministry, but based on the EIA, EMP will be made, and that EMP will be then implemented actually on site.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Ajmal, on the elaboration on that question. It was a very good question, and I was able to pick up something from that question that perhaps one of our sessions will be about environmental impact assessment,
Sure.
considering that a number of us here are into environmental practices. So the next question, I guess, will be coming from Mr. Lyndon Isguera.
London, yeah, Mr.
Yes.
London.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Lyndon, go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Rajmal, a good evening and thank you so much for this presentation. And good evening to fellow members of the panel. attend this. Now, Mr. Ajmal, this is my questions. I know that maybe most of us will be in agreement that the growth and development of a certain country lies more on the how fast their industrialization is.
Yeah.
Now, since we are talking about environment, right?
Yeah.
Sustainability and industrialization somehow contradicts, right? They are contradicting. Now, since we are trying to promote sustainability, yet we don't want to like suffer the growth of a certain country, can you tell us what is the importance or what is the relation or how does sustainability relates to industrialization?
Okay, very good question. And I will give you an example of this. Industries, sustainability does not discourage industrialization, but it asks you to find alternative solutions, you know, to avoid the over exploitation of resources. Let's, for example, say you have an industry in Qatar, okay, and this industry is let's suppose the cement industry or a steel industry. Okay, it's a steel. Let's for example say Qatar Steel. Qatar Steel needs iron ore. Okay, so what it will do? It will what sustainability measures it could take to lower the the global carbon emissions, right? To lower the economy, I mean, to add to their economy, to the economy of the state of Qatar, what it can do, and we call it material trackers. So from where you are getting your materials, this is actually where sustainability steps in. Normally, let's for example say that the state of Qatar is importing materials from Australia or from Germany. Okay, what it does, or from a far-fetched area. So what it does, the area from which it is transporting its material is coming through ship. That ship is adding a lot of financial what you can say financial things to the state of Qatar. A lot of finances have been spent to transport the material from that area from Germany. And when the ship comes all the way from Germany to Qatar, it runs on fuel, so a lot of carbon emission, right? A lot of what you can say, I would not say damage, but a lot of spending from the national treasury. A lot of people at work, the productive time of people by transporting those material from that far-fetched area to the state of Qatar, that will be consumed. And when it comes here, what sustainability tells you that, okay, if you can get iron ore from Dubai, let's suppose, or from India, or from some other nearest place, so you don't need to go that far. Okay. Okay, if you are saying the quality of that iron ore is better than the iron ore which is available here. So here is what you need to a little bit step down. To add to sustainability, you need to get these things. If you import it from India or from the nearest place, then you are saving a lot of money. You're saving a lot of carbon emissions, which will go into the environment. You are saving a lot of productive time. And when you bring it to the industry, now inside the industry, there are processes which require energy, right? So this is the second step. First is the transportation, that you control your transportation. You save as much as you can on the transportation, the money, also the fuel. So it will add to your economy. It will add to the global economy also. It will also add to the reduced carbon emission. This is transportation. Then the processing. When you come to the industry, inside the industry, this iron ore will go through some process of heating. Okay, and there is a lot of water also consumed on this system. And for these processes, normally the electricity is used. What kind of electricity? Here in Qatar, they use the from where the electricity is coming. You are burning fuel with diesel or the petrol generators. Your electricity is from the fuel. So what sustainability when steps in, a sustainable approach is to go for a greener energy. you know, instead of spending money on your on the fuel energy, and instead of adding to a lot of carbon emission, why don't you go for a greener energy, for a wind energy, okay, for a solar energy, right? So here is what sustainability tells you, to adopt the greener energy for all of these processes of your industrial processes. The third one is, in result of these processes, there will be a lot of emissions and effluents from your industry. So here is when
Thank
sustainability
you so
tells
much
you
for that
to,
answer, Mr. Ajmal.
yeah, hello,
Thank you, Mr. Lindon, for the question, and thank you, Mr. Ajmal, for expounding on the that question. I guess we had a very interesting session tonight. If you still have questions, you can type it here, and then I can read it, or we can directly raise it to Mr. Ajmal. Um, I'll wait for a few, for a couple of seconds to see if there are questions. Otherwise, we will go into the next part of our program. Okay, Mr. Ajmal, can you just close your presentation, and
yeah,
I
sure.
can be the host so that I can share also the certificate of appreciation that we want to give to Mr. Ajmal, and then we will close our session. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for the active listening and participation. This time, still, I cannot share my screen. Anyway, I know there are some guests who joined us tonight. And just a reminder, if you have not renewed your membership yet, please let us know so that we can communicate with the UK office. And some sort of announcement, our Executive Director, Philip Person, and the President of IIRSM will be coming here in Qatar in January. We will announce the exact date, and we will also announce the program because we are planning to have a face-to-face session by the time they come here. So it will be a very special program, and we will also be relaunching IIRSM Qatar branch because it's been quite some time since we were informed that the month of December was the foundation of IIRSM Qatar branch, but we want to have it officially declared by the executive director and the president. So, and also we're encouraging you to suggest any topic that you may would want to hear from IIRSM Qatar branch. And if you also are interested to be the presenter, kindly let us know so that we can speak to you and prepare you for the next coming CPD meetings. As you all know, we already have new set of officers, so we want them to be introduced to you face to face. And our vice chairman is here right now, Mr. Proloy Daas, and our CPD chair, Mr. Oliver Revilla, is also with us, and our former chair, Mr. Dipo Ravi Kumar. I would be happy if you can clap your hand as a sign of appreciation to him, who served for almost 3 years. And for all this time when we had COVID, IIRSM Qatar branch was known to have withstood the test of time. And a lot of branches were asking from us, how did we make it? That in spite of the situation, we still survived. Of course, we need to admit that a lot of our colleagues are not here in Qatar anymore. But the good thing is we also have some IIRSM members in other countries who joined our group chat here in our WhatsApp group here in Qatar because they became interested. How is it that IIRSM Qatar branch was able to survive? And the answer is very straightforward. It's all because of you, our members, our friends who are always interested to hear something from us. So, um, again, if you have any question about the branch, about your membership status, please let me know. My I can type here my email address. and you can communicate with me directly. And if you need some help about your renewal, or if you plan to upgrade your membership into a fellow, kindly also let me know. As you know, I for almost 3 years now, I was admitted as one of the assessors for fellow applicants, and not only for fellow, but for also for members. But if you are from Qatar, I doubt it if your document will come to me. Of course, ethical wise, we follow certain standards, but I can help you. I can guide you on how, as I promised before, I can guide you on how to help you, and how will you be able to meet the requirements if you feel that you are already qualified to become a fellow, as a challenge for us in upgrading our membership and our professional practice in risk and safety management. So allow me to share my screen just so that we can appreciate our speaker for tonight. So let me read the content. IIRSM, or International Institute of Risk and Safety Management, Qatar branch, the home of risk and safety management professionals. Certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mian Ajmal Said for being the resource person on the topic environmental risk factors as part of IIRSM Qatar branch monthly meeting and members continuing professional development, held online via Zoom on 21st of November 2023, Doha, Qatar. Signed, Leo Dote, Chairman, IRSM Qatar branch. So this is, I will just hand this over personally to Mr. Ajmal when we see each
Thank you
other.
very much, Mr. Leo, and thank you everyone.
Mr.
Uh,
Ajmal, it's our
yeah,
pleasure to have you, and I hope that this will not be the first and the last. But of course, while you are here in Qatar, perhaps in the next meetings, I will request you again to give a topic, especially if there will be a request about a very specific topic related to environment. As you know, you're
sure, Mr.
very
Leo.
capable
Anytime,
of sharing
anytime.
views.
So you can inform me anytime, and yeah, I can deliver topics related to environment. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any question or anything that our members would want to discuss related to our workplace, as our usual practice that we do? And this time, my apology that we did not present any topic related to Qatar laws, because we intended it that way, as we want to give more time to our resource person for tonight. But anyhow, rest assured that we are continuing our practices with regards to presenting one topic related to Qatar laws and regulation, especially in risk and safety. And we will do that again next time. And we really have a very good number tonight. So if you don't mind, I do not know who can take a photo of our screen today. Otherwise, I will just uh, do something. Let me just crop it so I can document it. So I would be happy to see your faces, guys. It's been ages since we last saw each other. Most of us, I'm really happy that we survived COVID. Dips, would you mind taking a photo of the screen so we can have a very good documentation? This is the first time since COVID that we have 49 attendees. So let me just, while Mr. Dipo is taking a photo, also let me take a screenshot for this so I can have a very good documentation for all of us. And we can use this in our next meeting. There you go.
Leo,
Yes,
good
sir.
evening. Yeah, Leo, just
Yes.
1 minute. I'm actually traveling now, so I
Yes,
cannot
Vice Chair.
open the camera. Okay. Yeah. For apology for that. So please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. That was our Vice Chairman, Proloy Das. And okay, so I already did the first group, and let me do the second one. If you can open your cameras, and let me take a shot of yours so we can have very good documentation for tonight. Mr. Dipo, if you can take a photo again. I will just take I will just capture this. So give me just few seconds. One, two, three. There you go. I got it. Thank you so much, guys. If you don't have any question, just give me a few seconds. I will just read the messages here. So there's no question. Um, And also, by the way, if you can, in your personal time, do a moment of silence, or we will just do it here, just a moment of silence for our member, Mr. Roque Dikinha. His son passed away last November 16, I believe. So it's a very unfortunate event in his life that his son passed away here in Doha. So we offered our condolences, our sincere sympathies from IIRSM Qatar branch. May God bless Brother Ruke and his son. May rest in peace. So guys, thank you so much for attending the meeting. As usual, let's communicate in our WhatsApp group. Any information that you would want to share, you know that we have a policy, and you know very well what kind of communication we can share in that chat group. And also, you have my email address. If you have any query about the branch, please let me know. We are still waiting for some people to step in to become members of our committee. I believe we still have around 3 to 4 vacancies that we want to fill in. So those who want to renew their membership, let me know. Those who want to join, let me know also, so we can work out with IIRSM Qatar branch. So once again, thank you so much. And of course, as usual, thank you, Vibrant, for sponsoring the hosting tonight. And hopefully in by December we can have another very good session. We will let you know when will be the exact date, but normally it's somewhere around third or fourth Tuesday of the month, depending on how many Tuesdays there is in that month. And again, by January, please take note, our executive director, Mr. Philip Person, and our president, David Hamilton, they're coming here in Qatar, and we really wish that you can join us once we have finalized all the formalities in the venue for this. So once again, guys, thank you so much. This is your chairman, Leo Dote, welcoming you once again and saying thank you for